So hey, what's up guys, this is AK, and you are watching my YouTube channel AKM. So guys, welcome back to a brand new tips and tricks video of PUBG Mobile. Peek and shoot tactics are easily one of the most underrated skills in PUBG Mobile, because they decide who takes damage first, and who wins the fight before it even becomes an aim battle. The biggest mistake that most players make is exposing too much of their body every time they peek. They either stay outside the cover for too long, or they keep repeating the exact same peek until the enemy already knows where they will appear. That is why so many players lose close range fights, even though they have good aim, good sensitivity, and smooth controls. They simply give their opponent an easy target. The player who exposes less of their body usually has the advantage, because they can deal damage while staying much safer. The good news is that this is not difficult to fix. By changing just a few simple habits, you can make yourself much harder to hit, force enemies into making mistakes, and win more close-range fights consistently. So with that being said, let's get straight into the first tip. The first tip is to stop over-peeking. One of the biggest mistakes players make is walking too far out from behind cover before shooting. They think they need to see the entire enemy before they can fire. In reality, that only gives the enemy a much bigger target to shoot at. Most players do this because they panic during close-range fights. Instead of trusting their crosshair placement, they rush out into the open. Even if they land a few shots, they usually take just as much damage in return. The correct way is to expose only the smallest part of your character that is needed to see and shoot the enemy. Stay close to your cover, lean out, fire a short burst, then immediately return behind cover. Your goal is not to stay outside and spray continuously. Your goal is to deal damage while giving your opponent as little time as possible to react. Imagine you are fighting around a crate inside warehouse. Your enemy is already aiming at your position. If you completely step out of cover, they can instantly spray your entire body. But if you perform a quick peek, fire accurately, and move back behind the crate, they only get a tiny window to hit you. After repeating this a few times, they often become impatient, and that is when they make mistakes. This habit immediately improves your consistency because you survive longer in every fight. The less damage you take during each peek, the more chances you have to finish the fight. Now once you stop over-peeking, the next step is making your peeks unpredictable. The second tip is to never repeat the same peek over and over again. Many players peek from the exact same position every single time. The first peek might work, but after that, the enemy already knows where your head will appear. They simply hold their crosshair there and wait. Players repeat the same peek because it feels comfortable. They believe if it worked once, it will keep working. Against experienced players, that almost never happens. Instead, keep changing your timing and your position. Sometimes wait for a second before peeking again. Sometimes move a little to the left or right behind your cover before peeking. Sometimes let the enemy fire first, then peek while they are recovering from their spray. For example, imagine you are fighting around a doorway in an apartment building. You peek once, exchange a few bullets, and return behind the wall. Instead of instantly peeking again, pause briefly. Let the enemy waste their bullets expecting another peek. As soon as their spray slows down, quickly peek and punish them while they are less prepared. This makes your gameplay much more consistent because your enemies cannot predict your movements. The harder you are to read, the harder you are to eliminate. Now there is one final habit that separates average players from players who dominate close-range fights. The third tip is to always pre-aim before every peek. A common mistake is looking at the wall or the ground while moving behind cover, then trying to adjust the crosshair after peeking. Those tiny adjustments waste valuable time, especially during aggressive fights. Players usually make this mistake because they focus only on movement. They forget that crosshair placement is just as important as aiming speed. Before you peek, already place your crosshair where you expect the enemy to be. Then perform the peek while keeping your aim at head or upper chest level. This means the moment your enemy becomes visible, you only need a very small adjustment before firing. Think about a fight around a broken wall in Erangel. You know your opponent is hiding behind the next corner. Instead of peeking with your crosshair pointed at the ground, line it up with the edge of the wall before moving. As soon as you expose yourself, your crosshair is already close to the enemy. That allows you to fire first and deal damage before they can react properly. This habit improves consistency immediately because it reduces unnecessary crosshair movement. Less adjustment means faster shots, more accurate sprays, and more fights won. So to quickly summarize everything, first, stop exposing your entire body whenever you peek. Second, make every peek different so your enemy cannot predict your movement. Third, always pre-aim before peeking so your crosshair is already in the right place when the fight begins. These 3 habits may look simple, but together they completely change how you approach close-range fights. You will take less damage, react faster, and make it much harder for enemies to land clean shots. Over time, these small improvements will help you become a much more consistent PUBG Mobile player. So guys, that was all for today's video. If you found this video helpful, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more PUBG Mobile tips, aiming guides, movement tutorials, and practical gameplay advice that will help you improve faster. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.